Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Chiropractic Student Podcast. Today we are joined by my good friend Dr. Tom Gordon, DC. He's working down in Southampton and he's very lovely. Joined us on today. Thank you so much, Tom, for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's good.
Cool. Really simple. I'd like the listeners to just know a little bit more about Tom, how you sort of got into chiropractic, where you studied, and sort of what you're doing now. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, chiropractic is one of those professions which everyone's like got this incredible story usually. And to be honest, mine is a little bit random. I just fell into chiropractic. Didn't know what chiropractic was until I went to university. I'd never seen a chiropractor before. It's one of those weird stories which doesn't happen very often. So basically, I grew up very sporty, always loved sport, football, rugby, play a lot of squash as well. And, always been interested in sport, always thought I wanted to do something active, outdoors, or, I'm very much a hands-on sort of guy. So whether that would be a trade or, I don't know, something, I wanted to be hands-on anyway. And so originally I was like, oh, maybe I'll do medicine, maybe I'll do physio, maybe I'll do something along those lines. So I started going through school, started going through sixth form, all of that sort of stuff down in Bournemouth. And physio was kind of like the goal. I was like, okay, physio is pretty cool, like get to do hands-on work, get to help people, all of that sort of stuff. Then I kind of was like, oh, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I should do more of a generic degree. So I signed up to do sports science at St. Mary's, Twickenham. And wow, long story cut short, ended up not going, and taking a year to kind of work out what I wanted to do. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. So basically went back to sixth form for a year to kind of do a couple of other sort of, what do you call them, A-levels and that side of things to try and kind of give myself the best shot and give myself a bit of time, because I was like, no, I still want to go to university. If I want to do other things, maybe I need some other sort of experience, blah, blah, blah. And then started applying for physio. And I was like, no, physio is what I want to do. And then I came across chiropractic, and I actually remember it quite well. There was this guy and a girl who came to speak at our at our sixth form, and from the ACC, and they were just so passionate and so like upbeat and so like, no, this is the best degree, like you should definitely come and do this. And if you like sport, you can go into sports chiropractic, you can do this, you can do that. And I was like, oh mate, this is amazing. Like, how have I never heard of this like profession before? Like, this is like, maybe I had, but hadn't quite clocked what it was. And I had a chat with them, and they were like, no, you should definitely apply. I was like, okay, screw it, I've got nothing to lose, let's apply. Still on the fence about it. So I applied for foundation at all the places, because I was like, I'm not wasting 5 years of my life if I don't enjoy it. I don't know what it is. So I applied for the foundation sort of course on each of the places, went to ACC, went to WEOC. I didn't realize there was a McTimoney place at the time, because didn't know anything about chiropractic. And basically decided, because I lived in Bournemouth, I wanted to go to Wales, because I wanted to get away from Bournemouth, away from home, get the university experience a little bit. And I love sport, and Wales had a little bit more opportunity to play, football, rugby, squash, all the rest of it. Turned up at uni and fell in love with this thing called chiropractic. And not even what I would call chiropractic now, which I even love even more, but the basic principle of you can help so many people with just your hands. And that there's, there was something about the chiropractors I was talking to, and I started shadowing some chiropractors, and I actually missed a bit of the story. The pinnacle of my decision to go to study chiropractic, I shadowed a woman who's actually quite a close-ish family friend called Caroline Smith. She works down in Wimborne and Ringwood now, I think. And she was doing, I can't remember what it is. It's a type of chiropractic. It's not quite network. It's
a BGI?
No, I'm gonna have to look it up again. It's basically a similar thing to McTimoney, putting impulses into the spine and extremities. And I was just sat there watching her. I always remember this, shadowing her and being like, okay, this is cool. And then just seeing these results and these like crazy changes and being like, what? This is just how is this like what? How is this happening? So that was the reason why I went to you. That's the reason why I've eventually kind of signed on the dotted line for chiropractic. So shout out to her, because she definitely is the reason why I'm where I am today.
Thanks, Caroline.
So then went to university, of course, and I loved university. I'm, well, as you know, I'm quite a social guy, so quite into my sport and socializing, and definitely partied a bit too hard throughout some of university, but you got to do it sometime in your life. Yeah. And basically still ended up with through chiropractic at university being this mixed sort of chiropractor, where I really enjoyed the principle of like doing chiropractic, but the actual course I found pretty hard to kind of piece together. So basically in year 2, I was looking at basically transferring to medicine, because I was like, I can't believe I'm doing all this work. I'm putting basically all this time and effort into this degree. The tutors are basically saying, you know, it's all right. They're not that passionate. They were a little bit, some of them more than others, of course, and kind of getting there and being like, well, I'm putting all this work in. I'm not going to get the credit I deserve for doing all this work. And my knowledge level, you know, we're learning such in-depth knowledge about just the human body, let alone the rest of it. And I was like, well, I might as well be doing medicine. So I nearly dropped out. Well, I literally nearly dropped out in my second year because I was like, I could be spending my time on medicine, and the only thing that put me off was working the amount of hours and doing some of the shit that they have to deal with.
Yeah.
And then basically carried on going. Year 3, I enjoyed a lot more. And then year 4, I was in this weird place where I was like, I'm so ready to finish, but I don't think I'm ready to be a chiropractor. And again, started looking at medicine again, because I was like, all the tutors and all the things that people were saying were, well, it doesn't really matter what you do. Just, you know, just give them some medication. They're going to heal on their own anyway. So what's the point? Like, it's all about contextual factors. So it doesn't really matter about anything you're going to do. You're basically going to be a glorified masseuse, and you're going to chat to people for the rest of your life about them being in pain and being miserable. And I was like, wow, fuck this. Like, what is the point? Like, I've spent 5 years of my life doing all of these things. Like, and I'm just going to become a glorified, I could have done a weekend course on a PT, could have worked in a gym for about 5 months, and I could have done a masseuse course for a weekend. Yeah. And I would have been just as qualified and have the same reputation as a chiropractor. And I was like, this is bonkers. This is absolutely bonkers. Like, how is this even happening? So anyway, I was like, well, screw this. I'll stick it out. I'll go through, I'll finish my degree, and then I'll make a decision what I'm going to do then. I can always, again, go to medicine. It's just, I mean, I've learned loads anyway, so I should breeze it because I've put the work in. And then, luckily enough, I found Alex Becu-Steinson and Hannah Dixon, and it was just a chance thing that I remember it as well. I was in my house with my uni friends, and a chiropractor a few years above was over, and he had mentioned that he'd seen this advert online for this chiropractor, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Like, maybe I should go and shadow. It's in Southampton. It's not too far away from my house, like from my home in Bournemouth. And I didn't know really what to expect. Never seen open plan before. It was like one of those things where it had been spoken about at university, but never in a good way. It was always like, open plan is, it's not good. They all
Conveyor
care
belt. Yeah.
they just care about money. They don't care about anything else. And I was like, okay, well, I should probably go see it. So I turned up, and oh my gosh. So I chatted a few places already, quite a few places actually. Mixture of different places. Not actually looking for a job, but just to see what was out there in my fourth year, because I suddenly realized there was more to chiropractic than just, well, what we were being told, which was an interesting realization. So I went down to Southampton, and I just remember walking through those doors and being like, holy shit, this is a clinic. This is a chiropractic clinic, because it's so bright, so vibrant. Everyone was happy. Like, you're walking in, and like people are smiling, and like there's just the clients that are walking around are just happy. And I was like, wait, what? What is going on here? And instantly just like was just like, there's something here. There's just something more in this sort of, there's something more to chiropractic here. And then of course I met the wonderful Andy Varnham, who obviously I then had the pleasure of working very closely with for a few years. And we'll go into that in a bit of detail in a minute, but definitely opened my eyes to the possibilities of chiropractic, because just chatting to him, and honestly, he'll quote you on some of the things I used to say to him and ask him about, and being like, can you adjust a disc? Can you, should you be doing that? What's your rehab plan? Like, what, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Oh, I think, why don't you just put some, because I what you see is what you get with me. I will just happily say what I think. And Andy, I can just remember his face looking at me like, you have no idea. You just have no idea what I'm doing. And I was like, that was a kind of realization for me that I need to look into more of what chiropractic was. And for obviously applied for a job there, and then got the fantastic opportunity to work with some great chiropractors actually. So obviously, Andy Varnham I worked with for a while. He taught me too much in terms of how to adjust, where to adjust, what was going on, like how to assess, like obviously a lot of that. Obviously, Dr. Alex Becu-Steinson, I still spend too much time with him chatting about chiropractic and how to adjust and where to adjust, and communication, how to effectively communicate chiropractic to the general public. Because, I mean, if you take anything from today, it's learn how to communicate chiropractic. If you can communicate chiropractic, I mean, that's like your point of sale, you don't need any fancy things or gadgets or whatever. If you can effectively communicate chiropractic and what you're trying to achieve, not only will you have a successful practice, but you'll enjoy what you do, because every day is just fun. When you get to actually chat about chiropractic and like see people's progression and change through chiropractic, every day is just like, this is going to be sick. Today's going to be sick. And honestly, if you'd heard me talking about chiropractic 4 years ago, it would have been a completely different conversation.
That's like the journey that you've been on. It's so
very long-winded, but that is, I'm sure everyone switched off about 10 minutes ago when they're like, fuck, this guy's still rambling on. Like, honestly.
No, it's a really,
that's the journey.
Yeah, it's a really interesting journey. And like, don't belittle it at all, because a lot of people have been on like such a similar journey. Like, not many people have had the almighty hole-in-one adjustment. Someone rocked my atlas and changed my life forever. A lot of it is just easing your way into finding what's right for you. It's really fun hearing about that. And I followed quite a similar path. Like, that was the first open plan clinic I went to and observed with Alex. And I spoke to Alex, I think that day for about 2 hours on a bench outside about chiropractic.
I remember.
This guy literally just talks and talks and talks. And I came away from that with like the biggest, I don't know what it is, like biggest heart for chiropractic after that, and such a changed mind about like open plan, like you say. Like I'd never seen it before, and the way that it's done is just so relaxed and chilled, and so different and not scary as they make it out to be. And for anyone listening, like go and observe, because obviously you've got yourself there, Tom, and Alex,
Sure.
and other good chiropractors as well. It was just, yeah, it's such an eye-opener. A few things I want to touch upon then. So you mentioned a few things. So when you said you needed to start finding your reason for chiropractic, like your why of what's, you started diving into chiropractic and talking to Andy quite a lot.
Sure.
What were some of the things that you did or read or listened to or spoke about that really lit that fire within you to help you understand chiropractic? How you put it, you had a true understanding then of chiropractic.
Yeah, for sure. To answer that, it's an interesting one, because I feel like Andy was kind of like the gatekeeper. He was, if you've, I mean, I'm sure you've had the pleasure of chatting to him quite a lot, because obviously McTimoney and all the rest of it. But he's very calm, very methodical, very relaxed, and doesn't give away too much. If you ever chat to him, he doesn't give away too much. He's very much like, yeah, he knows what he knows. He's very like relaxed and calm, and he kind of lets his adjusting and his presence speak for itself. I would say he's the nicest guy in the entire world, with the least amount of words I've ever known anyone to speak, and it's amazing. It's incredible to see, and he was kind of like the kind of gatekeeper. Just he was the reason why I found the passion for chiropractic. He was like,
what was it like? Was it philosophy? Was it understanding the art? Was it, what did you talk about?
It was his certainty in what he was doing. It was his, as I say, his composure, that what his pure belief that every single adjustment he's done is going to change someone's life. That was the kind of realization. Now, my passion for chiropractic didn't properly start even probably 4 or 5 months into working, because I came across a fantastic guy who, I don't know if you've spoken to, but Jonny Coller, who basically does the Chiropractic Y podcast and that side of things. And he was doing some locoming, and he took me out for lunch, and he started chatting to me about things and started questioning my beliefs and all of this. And I just remember being there, being like, fuck, I do not know a thing about chiropractic. Like this, I don't know it at all. And again, seeing someone with so much passion and drive and everything kind of just pushed me to start reading, start watching videos, start investing in basically my chiropractic journey. Because when someone's literally questioning everything about what you're saying, and then you're like, I don't have the answers to this. I mean, it kind of made me feel a little like uneasy. I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to learn. If I can't even tell you, how am I supposed to tell the person I'm seeing in front of me what I'm doing, let alone the rest of it? So, I mean, he was that kind of, wood on the fire, probably petrol on the fire, that kind of just started this kind of bigger sort of journey, almost to get there. And honestly, shout out to him, because he's definitely been a big mentor to me throughout, and definitely still keeps me in check, let's put it like that.
It's so cool. And you mentioned there, like you started reading and you started watching videos and investing. That pretty much brings me on to my next question, like resource wise, what got you there? What were these books? What did you watch? What did you reinvest in yourself? How did you do it all?
So I started off with the classic sort of, how do you adjust? How do I adjust? What are the techniques out there? Went through and looked at all the seminars, where I need to go, what I needed to do. And then before I did that, I started watching just YouTube videos, and there's some great YouTube videos out there, and of just chiropractors just adjusting. And I spent like a few weeks just every day when I got home, just watching these chiropractic adjustment videos, just pausing it, looking at their setup, looking at their technique, looking at their speed, looking at their explanation, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to achieve. And yeah, that was the kind of base point. Obviously, I had the pleasure of talking to people like Tim Young, who was down in 2019, and did a seminar with him, and that was my kind of first opening into the potentials of chiropractic and open plan, and what you could achieve and how you could adjust. Just the speed alone, I was like, holy shit, I want to be that guy. I want to be that fast. And then from that, you have to practice. So bought a speeder board, and for about a month, I was adjusting everything: tables, chairs, walls, anything I could get my hand on. I was firing impulses in. Just literally, it was around the house. I'd walk around and I'd just be like, cool, set up on the table and just do like 10 little like boom, boom, booms, like smashing it out. And so literally for a month, you probably, if there was a fly on the wall, you'd literally walk around, this guy's got some sort of mental problem. He's just lost the plot. He's completely gone mad. Like he's just practicing on like doorways and anything and everything. And so that I would encourage. I then realized I had to change some of my training programs, because I do quite a bit in the gym, and I was finding I was getting quite fatigued because I was trying to push myself a bit too much in the gym at the same time as doing open plan and going in. So I changed that. I had to make sure I started looking after my diet a little more, just to make sure, again, I was just it was almost like training as if I was like an athlete. Like, okay, I need to look after this, and this, so that I could give people the best care. As I say, that's your profession. That's the profession you're going to do for the rest of your life. So look after it, and also you've got to practice what you preach. I'm a big believer of that as well. You have to live the life that you can't expect someone else to do something if you're not going to do it yourself. I stand by that.
There's so many chiropractors out there who don't go to the gym, who don't like do any movement, breath work, meditation, and then they tell people to go and do it. And it's like
100%.
Like, are you eating well? Are you moving well? Are you thinking well? And then the chiropractor's not living that life. Like, if my chiropractor was, sorry to say it, but like morbidly obese, was like, I don't know, greasy and no hygiene and stuff, you'd be like, you're not being a role model. People look up to you as their chiropractor, even a lot of people who are older than you. And if you're not living that life, there's an immediate barrier, like a trust barrier there, that this guy's not a happy, healthy person. You're not a happy, healthy human being. Yeah, you're telling me to do all this stuff. Like, yeah, it's hypocritical.
No, 100%. And I'm a strong believer that you can't give something that you don't have. So if you're not healthy yourself, you can't properly give someone health. And it's as simple as that at the end of the day. So that was a bit of a realization. In terms of books, I started off with so many books.
Here we go. Get the library going.
Yeah, literally. So it was an interesting journey, actually, because I had the joys of Alex giving me a lot of books to read, whether they're about talking about different things. The story life of Reggie Gold. I got this from Jonny. That was the kind of first book he ever gave me. That was pretty interesting. Yeah, that's a good read. The first green book I ever got was again, it's a very interesting one. The Glory of the Going On. It's a tough read, but it just gives you a bit of an insight into chiropractic, where it's going, what's happening, and then I've read a few since then.
God, give me if you had to tell a student or a recent grad to read one book right now, if they were not reading anything, one book that was like going to change their world?
One book, mate. There's too many.
Just pick one. The first one that came to your mind.
Okay. The first one and the best one that you can read if you're a grad is, it's not even it's not even like a green book. It's Foundations of Chiropractic Subluxation. Looks like this.
Chiropractic subluxation.
Now, this actually probably was the first book I read. And again, a shout out to Alex Becu for basically showing it to me. It basically bridged the gap between biomechanical chiropractic and subluxation-based chiropractic. You could change the word subluxation to fixation, and the whole thing still reads exactly the same.
Yeah.
I believe it's written by Canadian. I think it's Canadian Chiropractic University over there. It's definitely, if you're stuck in between, or if you're like a little unsure, and it goes through amazing pictures of like X-rays, pre-post, loads of, it's a textbook, but it's very much like, goes through everything. That was definitely the first one.
So good. I mean, like, and I've written, if you see me like going off to the side, I've been writing everything down, by the way. So the last question I want to come to is quite an interesting one. There's been like so much interesting stuff that you've given us today. And I feel like this is going to be quite a cool answer from yourself. So
I'm just going to quickly run after my dog. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, I know you told me in the pre that you've got a little fresh little dog, little puppy, little Evie. So that's cute. That's fine.
Sorry.
It's all right. So it's okay. I'll let you do what you need to do.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me just. I'm so sorry.
No, don't you worry about it.
Oh, mate.
Oh, it's brilliant. I can still hear you as well.
So sorry, gonna have to like edit that out.
No, that's okay. That's fine. Okay. Don't worry. Okay, my final question. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So real simple. Tom now can go back in time and see Tom when you were in your turmoil, like let's say second year when you were thinking about leaving. If you could tell him one thing, what are you going to tell him?
I mean, you can always go for the easy answer, which is it's always better.
Yeah.
There's always a path. There's always a road. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. You know, that's the kind of cliche, obvious sort of stuff. I mean, to be honest, year 2 and year 4 me would have looked at where I am now and been like, this guy, like, what's he on about? Like, literally, what is he on about? And because, like I said, very much wear my heart on my sleeve. But to be honest, I'd probably say, you know, find something that makes you passionate. And if you find something that makes yourself passionate, it doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if it's, you know, CrossFit or running or reading or, you know, research. You know, find something that you're passionate about and go pursue it. Because if you find something you're passionate about, not only does your day-to-day life become fun, because you're actually, each day you're looking forward to going to work and doing something. Because if you're going to do that for most of your life, you might as well be bloody into it. And so that would be what I'd say, you know, is it doesn't matter what it is in, but as soon as you find your passion, you know, grow on it, you know, reflect, respond, and actually take actions to go live it. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to enjoy it and you've got to, you know, do something with your life. That's Probably what I'd
Dude,
say.
that's inspiring. I love that. It gave me goosebumps. That's
Oh,
nice. That's so nice. Like really cool. And I think that's kind of been like the basis of today. Like you've gone through so much interesting stuff. I've written a whole page of like everything that you've said, like golden
yeah,
nuggets.
I can only apologize for my ramblings. It's
No,
if
it's
you ever
really
come in
good.
shadow, it's this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Well, this is what I was going to say. Like, if people want to come and shadow you, or if they want to get in contact with you, first of all, are you happy for them to do that? And how can they do that if that's okay?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, definitely come in shadow. I'd encourage anyone to come in
What's the
shadow.
name of the clinic and where are you?
So currently at Life Effect Chiropractic in Southampton, in Fareham, and but yeah, so just get in contact there. Or I mean, usually the best way is Instagram. If not Facebook. I mean, I've got 2 Instagrams. I've got an official one, which is Gordon TD.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just
I'll put all the
that.
links in the description.
Or I've got a chiropractic one, which I haven't been using lately just because I've been so busy. But that's the adjustment doc, which you can get in contact with me on, or Facebook. You know, you can just find me on Facebook. But yeah, I'll happily respond to anything.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I would 100%.
No, thanks for having me.
I would 100% tell people to like go and to Life Effect. That was one of the first open plan practices that I observed at, and it changed my mind completely. And talking to you, I think I watched you. You were the first person I actually observed there.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it was really interesting. I saw you and Andy, and then spoke to Alex all day, and it was just mind blowing. Well, thank you so much, Tom, for coming on the show.
No, thanks for
I
having
really
me.
appreciate it. There's some really interesting stuff. One last quick question. How long have you been in practice now?
Just come up to 3 years. 3 years.
3 years.
I think I kind of can't remember, but yeah, it must be about 3 years.
Yeah. Still so early on in the profession. I love it. Like we're
crazy.
Gonna smash it. Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. Really interesting stuff. And just, thank you so much for coming on the show.
No trouble at all, mate.